I'm Joanna Penn from thecreativepenn.com, and today I'm very excited to be telling you guys that I'm moving back from Australia to England. Basically, I left in 2000 and in 2011 I will be returning, so it's quite exciting for me. And when I started to think about why I'm so excited, it made me think about what a writer is affected by when we think about home and how the concept of home impacts our writing. So I should say that of course I've had a lot of different places I call home. I lived in New Zealand for 7 years and I've lived in Australia for 4 years, and I'm home now. I guess I am. But when I was writing Pentecost, I set the book, the protagonist, I set her home to be in Oxford, her current home, the place where she is now. And Oxford for me is my, I guess, spiritual home, and it has been my physical home. My dad lives near there. I went to Oxford University, and it is for me the place that I say I come from. And I guess that, we all have that place in the world where, or at least I think we do, where we feel like we belong. And I guess I felt a bit like I've been away from that for so long. And when I came to write something that was, from my heart and from my imagination, Oxford was the place where I knew it had to be a focal point in my book. And I got to write about the streets and, places and the pubs and the colleges and the museums, all the amazing places that are in Oxford get wrapped into the book, and indeed they will be there in the other books as well. Oxford will always be pivotal in what I'm writing. So the physical aspects of where we call home can spill into our books, because the detail of the streets, and it's that little detail, little tiny things that you notice that make your writing real and that people love to read. They love to be able to see in their minds what, the place you've written about. So think about that in your own writing. How can you bring aspects of the physical places into your book? And of course you can set them elsewhere. It doesn't need to be set in your physical home, but you can bring aspects of that into your writing. I guess the other thing about home is the emotional pull that it has on us. And whether that's family, most of my family are in England, and I've seen them sporadically over the years and kept in touch, of course, but there's always that emotional pull back to where they are. And I'm really looking forward to being back for Christmas and seeing my family. So that emotional pull of home is something that we can also wrap into our stories. Even if you're writing a science fiction story set out in space, your characters will feel that emotional pull towards their home, and we all have that as well. That's a deep emotion that we have as humans back to our tribe, I guess. So my fascination with Oxford goes back a long way. Before I even lived there, I read Thomas Hardy's Jude the Obscure when I was at school, and a classic English book that probably not many Americans would have read, but he wrote Tess of the D'Urbervilles. He's a famous British classics writer, and in Jude the Obscure, Jude, our tragic hero, comes over a ridge and sees Oxford in the distance, and he equates it with Jerusalem. And in that image stuck with me for years, and then I always wanted to go to the university there and all those things. But that image of it as the holy city, the kind of the pilgrimage, you go on a pilgrimage to get there, and it became for me a symbol of Oxford. And amazingly, I also find that the other place in the world I'm particularly obsessed with is Jerusalem, and I've been there 10 times now, I guess, mostly in my 20s, and just love it there. Feel a real kinship with Jerusalem, I think because I've studied so much about religion, that when I go there I just see everywhere, I see the things that I've studied all my life, and it's just a brilliant place. So again, you'll probably see Israel was certainly in my last book, and it was definitely in Prophecy, the sequel. Jerusalem will always feature in those books. So for me, the concept of home is not necessarily where I'm physically based at any one point, but somewhere where I spiritually feel I belong. And that for me is Oxford and Jerusalem. So I'd love to know about you. What are the places that you call home, and how does home find itself reflected in your writing? Thank you. I'm Joanna Penn from thecreativepenn.com.